Vides from Chile, and that is the other player that is undefeated. So only those two are guaranteed for top cut, and everyone else is still playing these two guys. As we can now see their teams on the screen, both of them are playing potentially for a top 16 finish, maybe with a win and some good tiebreakers.
Yeah.
They could even get in there into the top cut as like maybe 8th seed, but it's unlikely. However, of course, as we were saying, championship points are well worth playing for. So yeah, there we have him. Gabriel Agati's team, a pretty common set of 6 Pokemon that we definitely expected going into this tournament.
Yeah.
Pretty much, well, the standard build at the moment for Groudon and Xerneas. And then on the other side, what do you think about Jonathan's team?
It's a really interesting one. It's like pretty similar to the one, at least playstyle-wise, we have already had on stream with James Bake. It's kind of as offensive, but it got some really nice twerks in it with like Jump Bluff, which can cause trouble when sleep powders are hitting, when Encores are coming, when rage powders are flying. And we're going to see the lead now. We're going to have Tornadus and Amoonguss on Gabriel's side on the field.
Wow.
And the Necrozma and Tapu Lele, the offensive psychic partners in crime, on Jonathan's side on the field.
Yeah, Tapu Lele and Necrozma, which we would expect to Ultra Revert at some point, is a pretty strong lead combination against almost any teams that involve a Xerneas, unless they have like Lunala, because what you can do is usually this Tapu Lele has a Choice Scarf equipped, just as we have seen before on stream, and then with Magic Room you can turn off the items, prevent that Xerneas to get the one-turn Geomancy, and then Ultra Necrozma outspeeds and can get a KO there. But Gabriel Agati looks like he has a plan here, leading with Tornadus and Amoonguss, and that is a good combination that I have not seen coming out from these teams that often. We see that Magic Room coming out, and Necrozma did not go for any Ultra Reversion, instead just for the Photon Geyser, and due to that Magic Room, even if there was like a Focus Sash or a Payapa Berry, that Amoonguss is just going down. As easy as that.
So we see like Gabriel is trading one Pokemon for getting up Tailwind early. This might pay off now since that Primal Groudon is coming in. Primal Groudon on the speed control setup is like a really strong force to reckon with, especially if there is only Incineroar to be able to switch in. But thankfully, Jonathan got Salamence, which got Intimidate as well, and this might be something he brought to this match. What do you think? Yeah,
that's definitely one option. As for the Necrozma and the Tapu Lele, both of them really do not enjoy staring down that Groudon here in this position. However, it's unclear whether the Groudon would actually be able to knock out the Necrozma in one hit. Maybe it might need some help from its partner Tornadus here. Gabriel, I think, is pretty fine losing the Amoonguss right there. I mean, it's not the best Pokemon against the Tapu Lele or the Necrozma, which now is going for that Ultra Reversion. So it will boost its attack, special attack, and speed. And just go for Protect. Well, yeah, sure, you want to stall out some of those Tailwind turns. Maybe your opponent knocks out that Tapu Lele, and then you get a free switch into whatever Pokemon you want.
Oh, and there we see the Eruption coming from Groudon. Tornadus beforehand didn't go for a C move. It just went straight for the Hurricane, but the Eruption is really powerful. This looks like a totally specially trained Groudon, knocking out that Tapu Lele in one hit.
Yeah, Groudon, one of those Pokemon where you can really go for both. We've seen physical Groudons on stream before. Usually, if you want to play it under like Trick Room, then physical is mostly the better choice, maybe with something like a Sword Dance. And then under Tailwind, usually the special variant is the version of choice, because Eruption boosted by the sun is just so powerful, and we just saw that here. So Stakataka will make an appearance on the field, and it's already kind of difficult for Jonathan, because if you switch a Stakataka into a Primal Groudon, then you know, well, it's not optimal. Stakataka, of course, if it had a, say, Shuka Berry, could be able to take a hit from that Groudon, even if it's super effective. And due to the Psychic Terrain, something like a Taunt coming up from the Tornadus will not affect the Stakataka.
Well, we still got Magic Room. Like, Shuka Berry is like out of effect if Stakataka died or Focus Sash or something. Well, Jonathan set up the Magic Room by himself.
Yeah, so you would need to like protect Stakataka this turn, and then try to maybe switch out the Necrozma into something that can actually threaten the Groudon a little more. But it looks like, well, once Tailwind was up, yeah, that Groudon is just looking so strong. We're seeing an Icy Wind. I think just for a little bit of chip damage on the Necrozma, the speed drop really doesn't help that much.
Yeah.
And I would expect an Eruption probably.
If that Eruption comes out, it's gonna be huge. Like, Stuck Attackers are usually... No, we're gonna see the Earth Power, and this might already be enough to take out the Stuck Attacker.
Yep, there it goes. And that means no Trick Room for Jonathan, unless that Ultra Necrozma carries it.
Oh,
but instead we might see that light that burns the sky, and there it is. Both of them doing some posing there, and yeah, that Ultra Necrozma taking all that power. And, well, I guess that's probably the end of Groudon. What do you think?
I think so. Like, Jonathan wants to get rid of Gabriel's best attacking mon. Like, Tornado's already done what it's good at. Speed controlling, like he set up Tailwind. He used Icy Wind to make sure that even if Tailwind ends, the Necrozma is going to be slower than Gabriel's second big attack. I don't know what's in the back yet. So that Groudon is targeted and the #1 target to take out as soon as possible.
Yeah, and boosted by that Psyche Terrain is enough to knock out the Groudon that we expect to be fully like offensively trained, so no bulky variant, and yeah, it's just being knocked out. So Gabriel all of a sudden also down to his last 2 Pokemon. And it's going to be a 2 versus 2 matchup now, but Xerneas coming in. Yeah, that is certainly nice for him, since Gabriel still has 1 more turn of Tailwind, I think, and the Icy Wind also reduced Jonathan's Ultra Necrozma speed stat. Groudon, though, that's actually a fine Pokemon for Jonathan to have here, because usually on these type of teams, since we have a Trick Room mode for Jonathan, that Groudon should be more defensively trained.
I guess so, yeah.
And yeah, it could be difficult for Xerneas and Tornadus to blow through that. Something to notice that Gabriel has not shown us his Z move so far, so that is still an option on the Tornadus.
If like Jonathan got like substitute or something on Groudon to capitalize on potential protects coming from Gabriel's side on the field, since we still got Magic Room active, which denies Xerneas to set up a Geomancy.
Yeah, at the same time though, I think you do not want to risk your opponent's Necrozma carrying Trick Room, for example. So I think Gabriel probably is just attacking. Ooh, Gabriel. Ooh, something's going on. Okay. Protector. Did he forget about Magic Room? Is that what's happening there?
This might be the case,
well,
but finally...
See. Huh, maybe he was just bluffing. Let's see.
We see the Supersonic Sky Strike from Tornadoes come in. He maybe want to hide it or to save it until he really needs that strong blow from Tornadoes coming, because you do not rely on accuracy, which is really low for Hurricane on the Sun.
Yeah, he's still shaking his head. I'm not sure what is going on there. Let's see there. So Xerneas is going for the Geomancy. And, well, yeah, that's how the move was intended to be. Well, it being a 2-turn move, then, of course, with the Power Herb, you kind of skip that. But under Magic Room, there's no Power Herb. And, oh, yeah, that's shocking for Gabriel.
Shocking. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, you hate to see it. Well, that means now Jonathan, of course, has a free turn to target down that Xerneas.
Yes.
Since, well... it's locked into the Geomancy, cannot even go for a Protect or anything. So let's see now. Hurricane has to connect here in the Sun with reduced accuracy. It does hit though. Geomancy is coming through though. So let's see if Jonathan packs enough damage to knock out that Xerneas.
Yeah, especially if that Groudon is physically based. It might be enough after...
Yeah, like Fire Punch Photon Geyser.
Yes, this might be the case. We don't know yet if that Ultra Necrozma might be... Yeah, it is special based. It's special based. But let's see if the Fire Punch is enough to take that Xerneas out.
The match. And Xerneas lives. Wow. Ooh, maybe this was planned all along by Gabriel, because now with the boosted Xerneas, I guess he has the game in the pocket, because Dazzling Gleam should be enough to knock out the ground.
Yeah, especially with some Icy Wind help.
Yeah, or do you want to go for the Hurricane? Because maybe you want to protect Xerneas, I suppose, because Jonathan could protect their Necrozma, and then if Groudon takes the hit, he can knock out the Xerneas. So Xerneas just going for the Dazzling Gleam. Okay, no protects coming out. So Necrozma will go down. Groudon
gets
the
it.
hit.
But now it has to stand like 2 icy winds from tornadoes if he decides to go for an icy wind. There you go.
Okay.
Because he
95% beats out the 50%.
Yeah.
From Hurricane, and okay.
There you go.
It's enough for the knockout. Well, what a game.
A close one! What a close one! Thanks to Magic Room.
Yeah, thanks to Gabriel. Well, yeah, we were thought like, okay, yeah, he probably has this, but then he was like, nah, I'll make it a little bit more intense. That was too easy, so. Oh well, I guess that's something that happens once in a while, and it probably won't happen to him for a great while, especially considering that this is the very last event. Or the last big event using this format, and that is being played with some of these very strong legendary Pokemon. Yeah. And so I guess for the future, we're gonna... Well, he's gonna keep that in mind. I'm not sure what is going on stage right now. It seems like they are delaying their second match for at least a little bit. But, well, yeah. So what do you think? Something that I... Well, was kind of missing in the game is the Jump Bluff on Jonathan's side.
Yeah.
So Jump Bluff is a Pokemon that has seen some great success in 2016 already, where Arash Almaty used it to win the German national championships. And even after that, like, if there is Groudon and Kyogre in the format, some of these Pokemon with abilities that double their speed under the respective weather are just... Well, you can get them online like instantly, because boom, there's the weather, you have to double the speed and so on, so that's kind of nice. And Jump Bluff, being naturally fast, one of the big merits it has is that in the sun, it outspeeds a boosted Xerneas. So that's always something that people really are looking into, because Xerneas, well, it's just so good. So if you can manage to, say, like, Encore them into Geomancy, or you could, like, put them to sleep with Sleep Powder, yeah, Jump Bluff just has some options to deal with even a boosted Xerneas.
Like, Jump Bluff got so many tricks, like we talked about, especially one trick yesterday, which might be Worry Seed.
Worry Seed, another move, yeah.
Really cool. You can use it in so many different ways, like to get rid of Kyogre's ability, to save your partner from falling asleep, to get rid of like trapping abilities. It's like a really interesting one you brought up yesterday, and I wonder what that Jump Bluff is all about.
Yeah.
But I really wonder how Jonathan is trying to stop that speed control from Gabriel.
Yeah, I think actually the Amoonguss and Tornadus might make some sense if you expect a Jump Bluff to come out, because, well, Tornadus has potentially Taunt that could stop any of the support moves coming in from the Jump Bluff, and then Amoonguss being a Grass type, well, it cannot be put to sleep anyway, and it ignores the Rage Powder. Yeah. So, yeah, with Worry Seed, that changes the target's ability to Insomnia, making it so that the Pokemon cannot fall asleep. As you were saying, sometimes in some situations it helps you by either preventing sleep moves to come out from your opponent or by waking you up, but then you can also use it to nullify abilities of Pokemon that really rely on those abilities. Say, for example, a Mega Salamence, all of a sudden it does not have Aerialate anymore, but Insomnia, well, sure, you can't put it to sleep now, but, well, its attacks are gonna do, like, way less damage. Yeah. They won't be super effective on the Jump Off anymore, as they're now, like, Normal type instead of Flying type, so there's a lot of cool things that you can do, and it's really one of those moves or one of those Pokemon that can open up a lot of possibilities and is breaking up with some of those more, like, standardized, well, like, move orders that we have, that we tend to see quite often.
And we still got like the option for getting Stakataka in the right position to maybe set a Trick Room. Like if Jonathan manages to take out the Amoonguss again really quickly, then he could set up a Trick Room later on to capitalize on Tornadus' Tailwind, for example, and to get off some Rock Slides and Gyro Balls. This might be a route to go, like starting off really aggressive with the Psychic Duo, and then for the late game he might go for a well set up Trick Room. Could be an option.
It's kind of what he tried in the first game, but yeah, I think Agati kind of like stopped that in its tracks, since with that Groudon under Tailwind, and then with Magic Room cancelling out, as we were saying, potentially a Shuka Berry or any item that could help that Stakataka to withstand an Earth Power. Well, Stakataka is not going to set up a Trick Room against the Primal Groudon, like, at all. Like, you could try to, say, get Jump Off next to the Stakataka, but that's those two don't have a great synergy, and then Eruption would still do a ton to both of them.
Well, so you could just maybe not try to go for Magic Room instead of chipping Amoonguss with like Dazzling Gleam, trying to take it out with a Photon Geyser. Then you don't have the Magic Room active, and you may get a chance to not be knocked out by an Earth Power. Set up a Trick Room, capitalize on the speed advantage and go from there.
Yeah. By the way, you guys cannot see that, but their customized trainer, they're like pretty similar to both of them, like in real life. So it's pretty cool. I can't wait to see more of that in like Sword and Shield when you can customize your trainer even further. But for the time being, we see Tapu Lele and Necrozma coming out from Jonathan. It seems like he is satisfied with how the first game went, even though, I mean, he lost, so probably not with the result, but he thinks that these Pokemon give him what he needs. And Agati, on the other side, instead decided to go with Incineroar and that Tornadus again.
Yeah, once again, trying to get up speed control early as possible. Incineroar might be packing Snarl to just reduce the damage output of Tapu Lele and Necrozma as early as possible. Or get in something like Groudon safely with a U-turn, because, well, obviously Necrozma and Tapu Lele don't really want to target Incineroar. Maybe Nature's Madness and Earth Power if you see that coming there. Groudon is coming in, but we do see an immediate switch to Stakataka.
Yeah, I really like that, because if Gabriel does not switch, neither Incineroar nor Tornadus have like great ways to stop Stakataka from setting up the room.
Yeah.
Sure, Incineroar might carry Roar, or maybe Low Kick, like that. These are options.
Yeah. But
that Tornadus, well, it cannot go for the taunt, as we mentioned, due to the psychic terrain. And then it also cannot really do a lot of damage. So I like that switch from Jonathan. However, I have a suspicion that we might be seeing U-turn coming out from that Incineroar, and that is exactly what Agati goes for. So with U-turn, he can now reposition himself, just a good chunk of damage to that Necrozma, and he'll be able to maybe switch in that Groudon, and well, that would be pretty bad for Jonathan already once again.
Yeah, like if Stakataka got maybe options against Groudon, it may have White Guard, but if Stakataka goes for White Guard, it can't set up a Trick Room, and now thanks to that U-turn from Incineroar, that Necrozma might be in range for a Supersonic Sky Strike to get the knockout, depending on how that Tornadus is trained. So once again, Gabriel brought himself in a really good position, setting up speed control, getting in the Groudon super safely with a well-timed U-turn, and once again, pretty tough for Jonathan.
Yeah, once again, and well, now this time around, there's no Magic Room in place. So by the way, there you could see the trainer, and I think it looks pretty similar to Jonathan. So if he does have Sugar Berry, then Stakataka could be able to set up the Trick Room. However, if Tornadus decided to go for like a powerful attack into that slot, then maybe even the Sugar Berry cannot save the Stakataka, since well, Earth Power is 4 times super effective. But yeah, we're just seeing Icy Wind, Necrozma taking some more chip, but if there is Earth Power, which we see now, and there's
we go.
Sugar Berry. Okay, so Necrozma will be able to like throw out a move, but it is more important whether that Stakataka makes it through the turn, and it does. So Jonathan, both Pokemon making it through the turn means that he can get off a really powerful Z-move here. Light that burns the sky will take a knockout, and Stakataka can set up Trick Room if he wants to, or maybe take another knockout.
What has been like the benefit for going for Icy Wind and Earth Power instead of like Eruption and Supersonic Sky Strike?
I think he was probably banking on the fact that Earth Power will knock out the Stakataka anyway, and then he wanted to prepare himself for a situation once Tailwind like runs out, and having the speed advantage with Icy Wind like established on the board is better or more concrete than having to rely on setting up Tailwind a second time. So maybe like the fact that Jonathan just went for the Magic Room, not really caring about the Stakataka's item in the first game, maybe Agati was thinking, oh, maybe this is like a Z move, which is something that you can use even under the effect of Magic Room, or just that the item didn't really matter in that matchup. But nope, it's the Sugar Berry, and that is really saving Jonathan in this situation, as Stakataka made it through the turn, and now set up the Trick Room to not only counter the Tailwind, but, well, after that Icy Wind, the Necrozma is like super slow now. So strong position all of a sudden for Jonathan. And just this one turn, like the one item, the one tech, really turning this one around.
Well, that Stakataka will, at least it threatens the Xerneas a little bit. Maybe that Xerneas switch-in is a little bait, Marcus? Like to get the Gyro Ball into Incineroar, get off a Intimidate, and maybe Necrozma goes for a Psychic type attack in this place as well.
Yeah, he could. Gabriel could just protect his Xerneas and switch an Incineroar. Like, that's definitely something that Jonathan has to respect. At the same time, though, he has, like, a lot of time, you know, because, well, even if that happens, and yeah, there is the Incineroar coming in, I think Jonathan has, like, 4 more turns with a speed advantage. Yeah. So, yeah, he doesn't need to convert, like, right now, and instead he can just make safe moves to ensure that at some point he'll have a position where he just wins on the spot. But no protect from the Xerneas, and this Gyro Ball is not going to get the knockout, but will put Xerneas in at such low HP that another move, like whatever it is, will do the drop. But oh, Dazzling Gleam actually getting the double knockout as that Ultra Necrozma was targeting into the Tornadus.
Yeah.
That switched into Incineroar. So both of them, well, having a little chat about that. Jonathan is like, well, you only win some of them. You can't always be right with these predictions. But now, he's forced to switch in his Choice Scarf Tapu Lele under Trick Room.
Yeah, this one looks really good for Gabriel now. I can stress this play has been really good.
Yeah, he still has that Groudon though, and there's still a couple more turns of Trick Room. Psychic Terrain is still in effect for another turn, right? So that means no Fake Out from the Incineroar, and well, that Groudon can just go for like Precipice Blades if it wanted to.
Yeah.
And all of Gabriel's Pokemon, like at least the Xerneas and the Incineroar, are both at so low health that Precipice Blades would knock both of them out. And I think at this point, well, Incineroar is not going to knock out the Tapu Lele.
I think I see where Gabriel is going. Like, he wants to switch in maybe the Tornadus now, getting like for aiding one Precipice Blades. And Xerneas can protect now since it didn't last turn, so he can then switch in Incineroar once again.
Sure, but I don't think
Fake Out.
I don't think you get that far. I think I would still give this one to Jonathan here, but let's see what happens. Well, Tornadus is switching in, and Precipice Blades just coming out. Yeah, no protect from the Xerneas once again. And if that is the knockout, then I really don't see how he gets past the Groudon. And yeah, with Xerneas out of the picture, Jonathan looks like he will be able to tie the series up. But let's see, Moonblast, doing a good chunk, getting a special attack drop. But that's, well, not that necessary. Tailwind peters out, but the Trick Room is still in effect.
And Incineroar comes back in again, but we now got 2 relatively passive Pokemon on Gabriel's side on the field and 2 offensive powerhouses on Jonathan's side on the field, and both are really, really, really healthy. Tapu Lele is now the fastest Pokemon on the field, like you said, Marcus. Being able to KO the Tornadus, even if it goes for Tailwind, Groudon still can just go for Precipice Blades into the Incineroar. So
Hey, we're still under Trick Room though, so actually Incineroar, Tailwind petered out, but Trick Room's still in effect. But so Incineroar will get a chance to get a knockout on Tapu Lele with a critical hit, but yeah, the Groudon should be able to just take this game home for Jonathan with a Fire Punch into that Tornadus. So let's see, there it comes, Fire Punch. Should be enough for the knockout, and there it is. And Jonathan tying the game up 1-1. And I think it is pretty clear to point out at which turn he won the game, and that was when Stakataka made it through the turn, and Ultra Necrozma, both of them. Agati really had the chance to take out either one of them, I guess. If you doubled up with a Z move, maybe that's enough, even though Stakataka has a 4 times resistance against flying type attacks. Or instead, he could have knocked out the Ultra Necrozma. That way, he would have kept the Groudon around, and then he could have probably stalled out the Trick Room with some smart switching. But, well, neither of them went down that turn, so Jonathan got a big KO with Light That Burns the Sky and was able to set up Trick Room on top of that. So yeah, Gabriel definitely cannot let that happen in the third and deciding game between the two.
Yeah, I really think I do like really offensive teams like the one from Jonathan, but you have to pick like your targets right almost every turn to make it through a tournament like this, and this might get more and more exhausting the more the rounds go on. Like, you have to rely on some predictions being correctly and guessing right what the opponent switches in and how reckless they are going to play as well. It's a tough call to bring, but I really like the team.
Definitely, and this is the very last round of the tournament and the very last game for both of these players potentially, because even if they win the chances are not that great that they make it into the top 8, but they're still playing here, fighting for some of those championship points, of course. So, like, everything that they have been training for is coming down to this very last game, because the loser is probably going to walk out without any points from this tour, and you definitely don't want to go out that way. So, both of them pretty close.
Yeah.
One more game for both of them. Jonathan, he was using the same 4 Pokemon in both of those games. Do you think he's gonna stick to them, or is he gonna switch it up? And do we finally get to see that Jumpluff?
I do feel like he feels comfortable with the picks he brought, but I hope we're gonna see that Jumpluff, since it's a really fun Pokemon to see live on stream. Like, it got so many tricks, and it's one of those, like, obviously Arashimari used it really often and to great success. But despite that, we don't see it that often on stream. But once again, we do see Necrozma and Tapu Lele and Incineroar and Tornadus once again for Gabriel.
Yeah, it looks like that Tornadus is just really threatening the Jumpluff away, because, with that Prank's Taunt and, options to set up the Tailwind, because then even under the sun, say, like a boosted Xerneas would be able to outspeed the Jumpluff. So, it looks like no Jumpluff's going to come out for this one, but, Tapu Lele and Necrozma, both of them have shown what they are capable of in the first 2 games, so Gabriel kind of knows what to expect. But the question is, if Gabriel just goes for the same play that he did before, which was Tailwind and U-turn, it's pretty hard to punish for Jonathan. You were suggesting a play with, like, Nature's Madness and Earth Power earlier to knock out the Incineroar. Another option would be to try and knock out the Tornadus with a powerful Photon Geyser in the very first turn. But, I don't think setting up Magic Room really helped Jonathan that much in the first game. And seeing as that Sugar Berry coming in really, really clutch in the second game, I doubt that he wants to nullify the effects of items again. But just like in the second game, we're going to see the switch to Stack Attacker.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see some pretty similar moves once again. I do not like the use of Magic Room too much, but I think it was only used just to one-hit KO that Amoonguss. Like, he probably knew or felt like this was Sash or a anti-psychic berry Amoonguss, and that's why he went for the Magic Room. But we are going to see the Earth Power into the Incineroar.
Doing a decent chunk of damage, and once again Incineroar going for that U-turn. So after the Tailwind, now Groudon, of course, should be the Pokemon that is coming in, because it threatens that Stack Attacker a lot. And Xerneas, which we expect to be Gabriel's last Pokemon, does not have a great matchup here against that Stack Attacker. So there's a lot of weight on that Groudon to deal with Stack Attacker, and in that second game it did not work due to that Sugar Berry. So now we're in a very, very, if not the exact same situation that we had in the second game. So
exactly the same.
So what do you think? Do you think Gabriel is just trying to go for the same play? I felt like that Icy Wind really didn't do that much there, so we're probably we can probably expect that Tornadus to maybe go for that Supersonic Sky Strike instead, because Icy Wind, it did not pick up the KO on the Necrozma, it did not bring the Stack Attacker in KO range, and with the speed drop, it even helped Jonathan in the long run because he was able to set up Trick Room.
Well, but based on the HP we see here, like, if Tornadus goes for the Supersonic Sky Strike into Necrozma, either Necrozma protects and does nothing this turn, or it probably goes down, and then Eruption is even stronger because of a single target move. So this might be a way to go, but Jonathan decides that he wants that Stack Attacker desperately to win the matchup.
There is the Z move, but Jonathan swapped out his Stack Attacker into the Tapu Lele, so he's expecting the Earth Power coming into that slot, and maybe that Supersonic Sky Strike. I would expect his Necrozma to double up or to target down the Groudon. So let's see, where is the Supersonic Sky Strike going? Into the Necrozma. So well done by Gabriel. Let's see how much damage that does. It is enough for the knockout. Ooh, and that is a big turn for Gabriel. As now he also goes for Eruption. Wow. So Stack Attacker actually could have stayed in and would have been able to set up Trick Room, but nope, instead Jonathan loses 2 Pokemon. Now it's down to his last 2. And, he might have a chance to set up Trick Room this turn because, Tornadus just used the Z move, and we have already seen that due to the Sugar Berry, Stack Attacker can take one of the Earth Powers from his opponent's Groudon. But, being down 2 against 4 is never a good situation, and Gabriel still has his Incineroar in the back, probably still Xerneas, so he has like room to switch around, and it's gonna be a very uphill battle now for Jonathan.
Oh yeah, it is, and you guys at home couldn't hear it, but the crowd here live in Sao Paulo was already really hyped when Gabriel got those 2 knockouts. He brought himself in a really good position. Like, his own Groudon is like threatening both Stakataka and Groudon.
Yep.
He can go for eruptions if he wanted to take out the Stakataka as well, but he goes for safe route, going for an Earth Power into the Groudon, taking the 1-hit KO.
And that is it. So Jonathan wanted to maybe go for a little bit of a risk because he knew he had to do something to get back into this game.
Yeah.
So instead of just going for a protect and trick room play, he was thinking, oh well, his opponent is probably expecting something like that and might double up into the Stakataka. So instead of going for the kind of obvious play, he wanted to maybe go on the offensive on his side and just go for an attack with his own Groudon, and then he was hoping that Stakataka would somehow make it through the turn, set up the trick room, and then he would have like 1 extra turn. But actually we are not seeing Xerneas. Instead it's the Amoonguss as the last Pokemon for Gabriel. So even under Trick Room, it would have been very, very difficult for Jonathan to come back. But yeah, there it is. Earth Power fails to get the KO due to the Shuka Berry, but Jonathan down to his last Pokemon. And that is going to be it for his tournament run, while Gabriel Agati moves on to 5-2. And yeah, probably with a solid finish in the top 16 at this tournament.
Yes. We have this saying, like, where's a rock slide, there's a way. But that, I think that was a bit too much for one single Stakataka. So, congratulations, Gabriel.
Yep. And yeah, it looks like for Jonathan, who has played a very, very strong last season here on the 3DS, on Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, well, it looks like he will be going out here without any championship points from this tournament. However, he has just recently, he finished 2nd place at the Paris special event, so he has some points already to his name, and we will probably definitely also see him again in Sword and Shield, and then also at the Pokemon World Championships.
Yeah, I guess so. Whew, that was an intense finish.
Yeah, definitely. Still a little bit bummed out that we did not get to see that jump buff. But looks like Jonathan, he had an idea of what he wanted to do, and it's just like one of those matchups where it's just like one small thing going your way or going your opponent's way is really deciding everything. And if things are going your way, then you're just sweeping the opponent. You like in the 2nd game, you got to set up Trick Room, and then the game is kind of over at this point. Whereas now, well, no Trick Room. And Trick Room at the very end only, and then also he did not get the big knockout with Light That Burns the Sky. So Gabriel Agati, taking that game.
Oh yeah. Whew. So this has been the first one.